Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel for another video. My name is Diana and I live in the Canadian prairies with my husband, our two wonderful daughters, and our dog named Scout. I make cross-stitch patterns under the name Diana Bloom Designs, and I'm very excited to be joining you today for another Flosstube video. So for today's video, I have a pattern that I'm excited to show you that is just launching today in my Etsy shop, as well as a little bit of stitching, a new start, some stitchy kindness, and a reading update that I am looking forward to sharing with you. So to kick things off, I'll start off with my new pattern release. I'll put up a digital model of the photo of the pattern here, and it is called In the Yarrow because the flowers that the bird is standing on are yarrow flowers. So the bird that you see featured in the design is a European goldfinch, which is not native to my area, but when I saw a photo of it, I couldn't help myself but chart it up right away because of the beautiful summery colors, like the red in the face and the yellow in the body of the bird. And you can see those colors are reflected in the sort of traditional looking borders that feature at the top and bottom of the chart. So I have my notes here. The chart itself is about 91 stitches by 126 stitches, so it's not very large, and it's just shy of 4,000 stitches when you're working on it. So it's a pretty quick stitch, and it has just a few colors in it. It's actually a pretty limited palette, which is something that I really like to do, to just use as many as you need and no more. That's something that I learned from painting, so that you end up with a very cohesive looking picture because same colors are reflected throughout. So I always get excited by more limited palettes. Those are all of the colors in the chart, and I love the way that these colors work together. This one here is not actually black. It's called brunette, and it has some cooler tones that almost read like black, some warmer brown tones, and in certain lights, I've even seen red reflected in it. It's such a beautiful color, and I'm loving using this one a lot lately. This is called This Sand That, and it has some beautiful variegation. When you look at it, it almost reads as a tonal color, but when you're stitching with it, you can really see subtle shifts that are just really beautiful. And I've been using this one a lot lately as well. This one's called Roses Are Gold, and I love that name as well as the color. It's a little bit warmer than This and That, and they make a beautiful pairing. This is called Light Sage, and again, it's got some beautiful variegation. I haven't gotten to the greens in my own personal stitching of this one yet, and I can't wait. I love the way that this one shifts in color, and I think that's going to be gorgeous. This light buttery yellow is called Chick. It is so sweet, and it's a great blending color to be used with Sunflower, which is the bright bold yellow over here. And then the dark red is Fallow Red, which is a beautiful go-to red for me. It's very rich. I think everybody who stitches in Roxy Floss knows about this one. It's a stunning red, and I am loving using it. So I'm stitching my model of this on a 40 count fabric, and it's 40 count Speculess by Roxy Floss Co. But of course you could stitch yours on any count you like, especially with it being such a small stitch count. It wouldn't be overly large even on some of the larger counts. And I'll show you the stitching I've got so far. So I have most of the bird done, and then just most of one little flower there at the bottom, or at least the lighter parts of it. I love the way that the colors mix here. That's This and That, and the Roses Are Gold. They blend together to create this warm, cool contrast. It's really pretty. And then for stitching, I've just got the tail left down here, which is all in brunette. And I'm very excited to see just a large patch of that color so that I can see all the shifts in it. I usually use dark colors sort of sparsely to create contrast. And I'm very excited to get to see just a big block of it. I think that'll be really nice. And then I can't wait to get on to flowers and the border. Let me see on my notes here. Yeah, other than that, I just mostly wanted to mention that it's sort of a combination of a painterly charting style like the antique French or Berlin woolwork sorts of samplers, And then also a combination of more Polish inspired traditional stitching. I looked at a lot of um, Polish folk costumes and the paintings that they do on their cottages, just in photos and Google searches. But yes, I liked bringing those two styles together. That's something that I spoke about more on my design behind the scenes video. And I think that it came together really nicely and has a very summery look and feel. Okay. Ooh, and I also wanted to mention that I can tell you I'm 35% of the way done mine because I've started using Pattern Keeper. So I've gotten a few questions on if my charts are available for Pattern Keeper or if they're compatible with Pattern Keeper. And going through their website, I realized the only way to know is to try. So I've put a few of my charts through Pattern Keeper and it works very well. I've started making a 1-page black and white chart that is sort of the best setup to be used in Pattern Keeper. And I am now a convert. I love using it and I find I'm not even printing off my charts anymore, just putting them straight into my phone and stitching from there. It has been really nice and I'm calling it my stitching video game where I get to cross off my charts and see how many stitches I got done in any one sitting, which, for me, even 16 stitches in a row is pretty good. So anytime I get to sit down and really cross off like 150 stitches, it feels amazing. And it's very cool to have those numbers in real time. So most of my point in that is if you like to use Pattern Keeper, my charts are Pattern Keeper compatible. So this one is, and I'm working back to check the other ones as well. I know Coming Home, another pattern of mine, and I'll be showing you my stitch of that shortly actually. That also is compatible with Pattern Keeper, and I'll just keep checking them. And I'm going to update the Etsy listings to also include the one-page black and white charts for my previous patterns as well. So I'll slowly be working through that. Okay, so that is in the Yarrow. I'm really excited about that one. I'm liking a little bit smaller charts lately because I like how manageable they feel in the stitch. I think they're just really sweet. I know Coming Home I just released and it was a large one. So I guess I like everything, but I've just really been enjoying that one. Speaking of Coming Home, I've got my stitch of that one going as well. I left it in the little Amazon frame because I thought it works just as well to show you that way and then I don't have to take it down. So here we go. So I've just gotten a little bit more done here. I had the bird and the flowery branch in last time I showed you, but I have added in, let's see if I can get it on camera here, these trees. And they were ones that I know they're such a small part of the chart, but I was so excited to get those in. You can see I didn't even finish this bird. I just jumped right down because I realized that I could count down from the tail and put those in immediately and then started on the roof line of the barn or the house. I love the way that those colors meld together. So there's 3 greens in the tree there. And then I love the way that the pink contrasts with the green. I think that's super pretty. And again, I know I'm just shy of 20%, 19 point something done this chart. So that's been kind of nice to know as well. With it being a bigger chart, I can kind of feel like, am I really making any progress here? Even though I've got like a lot of that one big bird in, but to know, hey, I'm almost 20% done. It's going more quickly in that way than I had realized. So that was nice. Oh, and I wanted to mention as well, I'm stitching that on 40 count cloud break linen from Roxy Flosco with all of the called for Roxy Flosco colors. And if you're interested in that chart, I'll have it linked down below in my Etsy shop. What is next? I'm really relying on my notes today. Normally I read them ahead of time and then I don't look at them. So sorry about that. My next stitch is a brand new start that I just have a few stitches in, but I'm still excited to show you. I'll pull up a digital picture of the full pattern. I have started Angelina Angot 1889, and I had a woman named Catherine reach out to me on my Patreon. She had seen in a previous video that I mentioned that I'm almost looking for an excuse to start this chart, and she said, let's start it together. So I'm very excited to be stitching it with her. I love the feeling of community. That is a huge part of the reason why I'm here on YouTube. One of the challenges of going from the work environment to working from home and staying at home with my girls is the lack of community. So getting to be here and have people that can reach out to you and building familiar, if not familiar faces, familiar names and familiar conversations with people is really wonderful. So I learned when I got my Roxy Flossco conversion of Angelina Angot 1889 that I only have one color. I have a handful of the colors in my stash, but only one that is, let's say, countable. Everything else is so inland or sparsely used that there's only one color that I can use right now. But what's great about that is that it's forcing me to stitch the entire width of the border, or the entire frame of the border, I should say, while I wait for my other colors to arrive. So I'm stitching mine on 40 count porcelain by Roxy Flossco. And I'm working on this beautiful border that's going to go all the way around. And just to give you an idea of the size, this is the center point, and then this is the corner coming down. So it's going to be fabulous. I'm very excited for this chart. I cannot wait to get to the flowers and the bird. Even the flowers in the border are beautiful. But for now, I'm almost forced to eat my vegetables because I would love to work on this as much as I can, even if I only have one color that I can really use so far. But I have my order in, and I think once I get that, I'm going to jump all over this chart and start getting to play with some color. So I am going to be using a full Roxy Floss conversion of that. The chart comes with, I think it's Overa Soie and DMC for charting. But yes, I reached out to Hannah at Roxy Floss Co. because Catherine had advised me on Patreon that she already had a conversion from Hannah. So she was able to send along the same conversion to me, and we will be stitching the same version simultaneously. I know that Catherine's farther along than I am. She mentioned that she's stitching a lot of the flowers in the border already, and I think she even said she might be moving on to the bird soon. So I know I'm going to be quite a bit behind from her, but either way, every time I stitch on it, I know that I am stitching with a friend, and it is the best feeling. So I'm very glad for that. And thank you, Catherine, for reaching out and starting this with me. So much fun. Okay, so that is all of the stitching that I've done these past couple weeks. But I do have a Canada Swaps update for you. I'm very excited to show you the picture of the swap that I sent off to my recipient. So just to remind you, I stitched Tulip Vase Pin Keep by Modern Folk Embroidery. And I stitched that on Roxy Flossco Dirty Porcelain in a 40 count. And I used mostly Roxy Flossco flosses and a couple of DMCs where I needed a darker purple. I think I used a different green at one point as well. And so that stitch is actually the first pillow that I've ever made in cross stitch. I don't do a lot of sewing, so I think I've shied away from that form of final finishing so far. But with this having to be something that's 6 inches or less and final finished, I knew that I was going to have to do some kind of a pillow. I did a lot of consideration. Should it be like a notion pouch? A lot of thinking about that, but I ended up going with a pillow, and I hand stitched it so that I would avoid using a sewing machine, which in retrospect was a little silly. I'm not afraid of my sewing machine, so I could have done it that way. But I think with it being for someone else, I was really worried about doing a very nice job and trying to get everything to sit nice and straight and have very sharp corners. So I hand stitched it together, which is a lovely process, even if it takes a little bit longer. And I'm really, really happy with the way the pillow turned out. My recipient also seemed happy with it, which made me it was so gratifying. I ended up dropping it off, and it was a very funny experience. My recipient lives in my city. And so I was in that end of town one day, and I thought, hey, this is right around the time I should be mailing this. So we popped over to her house, and I dropped it off. And then my husband said that I just ran, like I rang the doorbell so she knew there was something there. And he said that watching me absolutely run down the driveway was a very funny experience for him. And it was funny because she messaged me on Instagram later and said, oh, I must have missed you. And I thought, you couldn't have hardly caught me. I got really shy and I just ran. But yes, I almost wish that I had lingered at the door so I could have met her and said hello. We have since then talked on Instagram a little bit, and that has been lovely. And again, it's just the feeling of getting to make a new friend. And then a few days later, I received my Canada swaps from my gifter. I guess I was the recipient. I keep wanting to use that word. And I found out that the person sending to me was actually Karen, who is the stitching owl herself. So Karen is the one who puts on Canada Swaps, which I suppose I should have mentioned is a program that she runs where Canadians can reach out to her and be paired up with a recipient so that everybody is sending someone in Canada something that they've stitched that's 6 inches or less in stitching space. And then you are also paired up so that you are someone else's recipient and you will receive some kind of a stitching gift in the mail. It's very, very fun. It makes me think of Stitching Secret Santa every time. And I have loved it. This is my first time being in the program. So when I say every time, I mean every time I speak of it. But yes, so I received a package from Karen. It was beautiful. She included a really lovely card, and I'll show you what she stitched. She sent me 2 beautiful, fully finished hanging ornaments. And they're so beautiful. We'll have to do one at a time. I can't think of the designer's name right now, even though I know it every other day of the year. So I'm going to have to put it on the screen. I didn't even include it in my notes because it's just something I already know, but sometimes that's how it goes when you're filming. So she actually sent me 2. They're beautifully finished. They've got beading all around the edges. They're just gorgeous. And these beautiful nature scenes are every bit my household style. So I'm very excited to get these put up. I think I'm actually going to hang them above my computer. Oops. There we go. Because I do so much sitting at my computer to do design work. And I think it'll be very inspiring to have them sitting above me and very heartwarming as well. It's really a lovely thing to have someone send you stitching in the mail. It's a very good feeling. And then she also included a little gift because she knows that I like pink. And she sent me 3 classic Colorworks flosses from her stash. They are so beautiful, and I've never used classic Colorworks. Roxy Floss is actually the only overdye I've ever used. I'm one of those people where when you find something that you like, I do not stray. We have Blushing Beauty, Macaroni and Cheese. I love this color. It's such a fun name. And then Old Marigold has just some really beautiful variegation in it. If I can get it to refocus. There we go. With the pinks and that orangey gold color together. I'm so excited. Thank you again, Karen, so much. This was such a beautiful gift. Again, I'm going to be hanging that stitching right over my desk so I can see it every single day. And I truly appreciate all of the work that you put into it. It is so beautiful. And yes, what else did I want to say? I feel like I want to circle back to talking about when I find something, I stay on it. Like how I've never strayed. I tried Roxy Flosco flosses and linen. I was happy, so I stayed there. And that's something that I started doing when I was painting. I started buying a bunch of different kinds of paint brands, and it felt like I couldn't keep track of what I was using. I couldn't remember which color was which. And when I focused down and only bought one brand of watercolor paints, I could remember even if, I opened up a palette and there was a bunch of paint already in the little sections of the palette. I knew which color they were. They felt like old friends. I knew how they would mix together. It felt very comfortable. And so I feel like I'm taking that in different parts of my life. And I want to know the colors that I'm using. I want to be able to remember what they look like together. I want to have favorites. It's too hard I feel like it's hard for my brain to have all of the options. So knowing that I shop for floss in one place, I go to Evertote every time. She has over 300 colors. I have lots to choose from. They're all beautiful. So for me, it's like getting to work with something that's very familiar to me brings me a lot of comfort, and I've just been loving it. So that's why I always use Roxy Floss Co. Plus, Caroline, who runs Evertote, and Carrie, who is the dyer of Roxy Floss, are just amazing. Their whole team is amazing. Hannah at Evertote is amazing. So yeah, I'm at one for not. In case anyone ever wondered why I always use Roxy Floss. The last thing I wanted to talk to you today was a reading update. So it's really quick, just in case reading's not your thing. I wanted to mention that I finished the Emily Wilde series that I mentioned previously, which is a 3-book series. And I think it's by, is it Heather Fawcett is the author, I believe. But I'll put everything up on the screen around me. I'm sure there'll be 3 books somewhere. I think it'll be on this side, actually. I have like the mirrored image beside me, so it makes it a little bit confusing. I keep moving back and forth. But I wanted to say that if you like fantasy books, I found the Emily Wilde series to be very entertaining, very good. It kept my attention through all 3 books, which, you know, I kept on my feet, kept pretty busy through the day. So I feel like any book that's keeping my attention right now gets 5 stars from me. It was a really good series. And I also had the opportunity of reading it alongside my twin sister, who also really enjoyed it. So we were messaging back and forth with our little book club of 2, and it was awesome. So now we're looking for our next book to read together. And I just wanted to let you know that that series is very good in case you're looking for a new book yourself. So I think that is everything that I have to share with you this morning. Thank you for joining me for another Flosstube. I hope you have a wonderful, crafty, and creative day and creative weekend ahead of you. Yes, if you want the links to anything, they will all be in the description box below. Thank you again for joining me. I'll see you in a couple weeks.